here in Accra, in Ghana. And I wonder, this topic came up. I'm actually running a campaign to reach many of the senior citizens, because I believe that for many of them, they have not had the opportunity to visit, and the culture was not conducive for them to visit the continent of Africa in many cases. So one of the comments, and I'm telling you that the peanut gallery is always open. Whenever you put an ad out there, you it's kind of cool because you get a chance to see where people are. But then on the flip side, it's kind of sad because you get a chance to see where people are. So one person made a statement which really stuck out to me, and it kind of revealed the level of ignorance that's out here. The person said that true Africans don't like African Americans. So my hold on one second. Let me check one thing here real quick. Hey, what's up, Janae? Hold on a minute. I'm trying to want to make sure you can hear me. If you can hear me, type in the comments real quick if you can hear. And now, if you're watching this on the replay, there's no need to type it. That's what makes sure that you can hear me okay. Because I know sometimes if I have my headset on, it'll kick in and you won't be able to hear me the same. All right, cool. All right. So I can get back to what I was saying. Yeah, it's a little windy, a little breezy. I'm out here on the balcony. Um, so I've heard people. So my first question was then, who is a true African? so it just got real weird after a while. It was like a true African don't like true Africans don't like African Americans, and unfortunately for a lot of people, when they think about Africa, um, it's they think about, and what I'm doing, I'm stepping aside. I'm stepping aside. I saw the windy. It is a little breezy. All right, let me step inside here. All right, that should be better. Um, it's just the light is a little bit better on that end, and let me see if I can get some more light on this end. All right, so with that, you hear people make that statement, and um, all right, I said we get a little bit better. All right, so when I heard that, I said, wow. I said, and I've heard that before in my life. I've heard people, talk like that and say, well, them Africans don't like us, and it's really unfortunate, because when a statement like that is made, it's basically saying that Africa is one place and everybody thinks the same in that one place. So these Africans don't like African Americans, without even considering the diversity in Africa. Africa has to be the most diverse continent in the world. If you go to Algeria and see how they look compared to how they look in, say, Nigeria. So you have Algeria, and then you have Nigeria, two completely different countries with hundreds of different cultures and hundreds of different languages within those different countries. For someone to say Africans don't like African Americans is taking 1 billion people and putting them in one box when you have 54 countries, at least 3,000 different ethnic groups, and at least that many different languages. Even within Ghana, you have several different tribes. And so when you start thinking about this stuff and stuff that we've been told, it's like mind blowing, because we're sitting here saying to ourselves, an entire continent does not like one group of people. It just doesn't even make sense. It's almost like mind boggling. Now, you might run into a particular ethnic group that might come from the continent of Africa that might not like, say, African Americans, but that's not the whole continent of Africa. Kenyans are very different from Ghanaians, who are very different from the Senegalese, who are very different from South Africans, who are very different from those who are from Zanzibar. I mean, and so when we have these conversations, it's like, really? But this is where a lot of people are. And it's really to their detriment, because they are not afforded the opportunity. Really, it reveals ignorance. It reveals the misinformation that has been disseminated over the years, and it's just purely sad. It's sad. So one of the reasons why I come, because my experience has been very different. I've been to 9 different countries on the continent of Africa. Again, like I said, each country is very different. But in that, I've never experienced anyone in any of those different cultures and countries that has expressed dislike towards me. Now, in America, I have experienced where you will see, and I'm not going to say the country, because that's one country out of 54. Most people could probably figure out which country it is, but I'm not going to do that today. But that's one country, and I experienced where I have experienced negativity from it's come from that one country, and I had to step to that particular, and it seemed like it was a few people from that country, but I'm not going to blanket the whole country and say the whole country was like that, So, but that was in America. That was not in Africa, and it was one country, and so anyway, so with that, I try to make sure that when we do have these conversations, and when we do represent the continent and the different countries on the continent, we do it properly, and we do it with the balance, and we tell the truth, and we're as honest as possible with it. So I just had a few things that I wanted to just note as why that is, because we hear this, and there's a movie on Amazon Prime called Bound. There's this other thing that people say, well, I don't like those Africans because they sold us into slavery. I've heard that 100 times. So what it does is it suddenly says, I don't want to be bothered with Africa because they sold us into slavery. But yet we'll take our tails over to Europe, in Paris, in London, in Athens, in Lisbon, in Madrid, and Rome, and all these other places. And we'll never hear somebody say, well, I don't want to go to Europe because they bought my ancestors, or they bought us. You never hear that. You always hear, I don't want to go to Africa because they sold us into slavery. Now, and you think it's as backwards can be when you think about the logic, but that's a part of what the colonizer does. It's the mind games that the colonizer plays. I didn't say has played. It's still happening, because while we're sitting up here caught up in our emotions and upset and believing that the people in Africa don't like us, for whatever reason, they don't like us over there. So we don't bother to come. We don't bother, but at that same time, we don't see where the Indians are coming into Africa, the Chinese are coming in, the Lebanese are coming in. Absolutely. You hit the nail on the head. They're coming into Africa, getting all of the resources. The Europeans are still coming in. The Americans are coming in. You name somebody, they're coming in. But guess who's debating whether or not they should come to visit, and who wrestles in their mind. You never hear the Europeans in America wrestle in their mind whether or not they need to go back to Ireland. They're proud. I'm Irish. It's my Irish luck of the leprechaun and all this other kind of stuff. You never hear them saying, "Oh, I'm wrestling with going back to Madrid. I'm wrestling with going back." It's us. It's us. And honestly, and of course, it's not all of us, because many of us are back and proud and excited about it, and breaking down those walls, and saying, "Hey, look, we got Harriet running through our veins," saying, "Hey, look, y'all can stay on the plantation if you want to," but you have another group of people who just unfortunately are so misinformed. And it's like the people who say, "Well, I'm gonna stay here with Massa, and Massa done been good to me and done took care of me, and I'm gonna stay here with Massa." In many cases, that's what we do. I'm going over here to London, and London done been good to me, and the Queen, and the Queen, and the Queen. We got to pay homage to the Queen. She's not my queen. Let me just say that. So the deal is this: she's not my queen. Even if I'm a descendant of hers, because of the rapes and all of that stuff that occurred over the years, she's not my queen. And so, now somebody else may feel differently, but not my queen. So here's the thing. Let's put this into perspective. No one alive sold no one alive today sold any of us into slavery. So none of us have been slaves. Not in the context that we want to hold an offense. I don't even understand what rationale we have to be able to hold an offense with people who did not even do anything to us. Meaning the people on the continent of Africa, and let's come to West Africa. Let's break it down. With West Africa, let's take it all the way from Senegal down, Guinea, Gambia. Let's go through Sierra Leone, we come Cote d'Ivoire, Ghana, Togo, Benin. We can take that whole stretch. Liberia, even though Liberia, they were more or less on the backside of that. Nigeria, Cameroon, Gabon, Angola, Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger. Let's take all of that. And who alive sold us into slavery? Nobody. And in many instances, there were people, we share the same common ancestor. For those who were selling our ancestors into slavery, for many of us, we share the same common ancestor with the people who are here now. There's when I was in Sierra Leone last time, I had a young lady, she agreed to do a DNA test. She's from the Temne tribe. She's from the same tribe I'm a part of. And I said, "Would you mind doing a DNA test to see if you're related to anyone in America?" And so she said, "Sure." She said, "Sure." She said, "No problem." So guess what she did? She's 4 days older than my daughter, who's 27. And so she said, "I'll take the test." Her name is Fatima. And I said, "Cool." So I didn't know what was going to happen. I was just kind of like, I'm going with this. So the test results came back in. And the test results came back in, and I'm going to do more of a talk on these test results. I'll do a brief talk on it now, where she's definitely related to people in America. But then there was also someone, it was the results came back, and she was kind of surprised where it says that her DNA originated from, or much of it. She's 100% African. So there was no, she's authentic. She's all the way 100%. But where she thought she originated from, actually she saw the migratory pattern of the tribe that we both are part of. Now, she's more authentic than I am, but she was able to see that. So we're going to do a talk on exactly how many people she's related to in the U.S. and how closely she's related to them. And then there was one person in Sierra Leone who actually took the test and linked to her. One person in Sierra Leone. So when you start thinking about that, because then people say, "Well, no, we're not related," and all of that. And see, culturally, we might not have any connection, but genetically, we do. And actually, if you watch that movie High on the Hog, that docuseries High on the Hog, you begin to see how even culturally, how Africa influenced America. and how, I mean, in the cuisine in America, but of course influence everything, of course. And just like the statement was made, when you look at and you see this pattern, this is also another interesting thing. You see where Africans or those who were on the continent of Africa were taken to Europe to build Europe. You see where even in these slave dungeons, they were used to build the slave dungeons. The Portuguese used them. The Dutch used them. The British used them. The French used them. The Swiss even were involved in this mess. Of course, the Spanish were involved. They didn't have so much of a foothold in Africa. It was primarily the British and the British, the Dutch, and the French, and the Portuguese. And the Germans had their share, and then Italy tried to get in on the east side. And so that's why you see the dominant languages being French and English on the continent of Africa. Yeah. So you begin to look at this, and I think that what really makes this interesting and why it's so important. Oh, I will do. We're going to do a video together because I think I got a few things coming. I got a few things. This trip has been. Every time I come here, it's like walls keep coming down because it's like for all of these years, it's like I was in the dark, and now that the light is now exposing so many different things. It's like nonstop and unapologetic about it. So, but to this point, and I'm gonna stick with this real quick. This offense that's being promoted that Africans don't like African Americans. First thing we have to do is say, well, who are the true Africans, and which Africans are these that don't like us? Are they the ones in Zanzibar? Are they the ones in Uganda? Are they the ones in, I don't know, in Mali? Which ones are they that don't like us? And somebody say all of them, don't even talk to them anymore. Just put them on a shelf somewhere and put them in the, whatever that is, whatever. Just put them to the side because they're not even thinking with a rational mind. But this is why when I come and I'm spending time among the people, there's nothing. I mean, okay, all right. Let me see if I can try to find something. Okay, all right. Let me see if I can find something. I'll give you a good example of where cultural difference came in. And in cultural difference, I had to break it down. I had to say, look, all right, so we went to a park yesterday, and here in Ghana, it's a very popular park, and so they have a price, it's called the non-Ghanaian price, and then they have the Ghanaian price. And then they tried to hit me with I had my video crew with me, so then they tried to say, well, okay, well, we want to charge you 1,000 Ghanaian cedis for you to bring your cameras in here and record because you're going to become popular because of this park. And I stopped. I said, okay, look. I said, for real, I said, we're all in the same battle. I said, I'm not paying $1,000 to come up in here. I said, because I have an audience too. I said, so the minute I put your park on blast, now you get more people wanting to come to your park. And so at that point they were shocked. They were shocked. And I said, so now you tell me to come back. You tell me to come back and welcome me back. I said, but then you want to give me a different price? I said, so now that makes it look like it's just about the money. So what is it? So then I took it even deeper. So at this point they're like, oh, why? Why do we get him? I said, now, first of all, and I'm looking at the people working, I said, first of all, y'all don't own this place anyway. I said, either it's an Arab, somebody from China, a European, or an Indian that owns this place. I said, so now, we're all in this together. So now, what you want to do? So they said, what do you want to pay? At that point, she said, we get it, we know. It's a debate about it. I said, it's all love. I said, but here's the deal. I said, this right here, I said, these different prices, I said, don't tell me you want me to come back and then you're going to charge me a different rate. And then I said, now, because if that's the case, then it's all about the money. And that's cool. I know you got to make your money. I said, but we're not. I said, one thing about us as African Americans, we're not dumb. So we can people hustle when it's going on. And and I said, now, I know it's not your fault because you don't own the place. I said, it's whoever owns it. And they're playing these games. I said, I get it. I said, I know we're here to support you and support the economy and all of that. Lady said, what do you want to pay? I said, well, I'll pay the amount that I pay at the other places. I said, because I recognize that there's upkeep and all of that. Okay, I'm fine with that. But this thing about this particular park making me popular, I was like, that doesn't work. They were like, well, we had celebrities come through, and they were going out there, and it was making them more popular. I'm saying, the fact that you have a celebrity come here is giving you validation. So that was one conversation that I had. But guess what? I mean, that's business. That's the way it is. That's just how it is in the world. I mean, they got those type of little games in America, and that's. I mean, but it wasn't anything for me to say, I'm not coming here and these people don't like me and all of this other kind of stuff. It was like, okay, these people trying to survive like the next person. And so you just got to be savvy enough to be able to get in there and say, look, I don't have a problem supporting you, but I'm not going to do that. So, all right, so that's one, but that doesn't mean Africans don't like African Americans. That's the part that just blew me, anytime I hear it. All right, so the next thing is, I said this already, but I want to come back to it. There are literally people in America who are like, I'm not going to Africa because of that whole slavery thing. None of us been enslaved in America, for real. And none of the people who are alive here in Africa have enslaved any of us. So it's borderline silly to even hold on to that. So that's nothing that I go with. This is the other thing. In their educational system in many parts of Africa, they don't even know about chattel slavery. They haven't even been taught. Because you have to understand, those who control the educational systems are not going to tell you the different things. They're not going to tell you how wicked they were and the things that they did and the terrorism they committed. They're going to paint themselves as saviors. And that's why when I see all these Latter-day Saints churches out here, it makes me sick. I mean, disgusted every time. And they look perched up everywhere. You go around, you see Latter-day Saints churches everywhere. I'm saying, what in the world is going on? It's nauseating. That's why you got to come see it. See, because that's when you realize all of this stuff is the mind games that are being played. So what I've committed myself to doing is saying, listen, yes, there are cultural differences. Ivory Coast is very different from Sierra Leone. And I've been to both, and they're right there next to each other, or we've got Liberia in between, and they're nothing alike in the sense of, they might have some certain similarities, but one is a French-speaking colony, the other one is an English-speaking colony. One is has more Christian influence, the other one has more Islamic influence. I'm telling you, when you get here, the real education that you get, you find out how that American education system has lied to you. You find out how the media has lied to you. You find out how those movies have lied to you. You find out how until we start telling our own stories, until we get the cameras, until we start writing the scripts, until we start putting down the facts and saying, here's what happened, here's how it happened, then other people, because they will be able to control these narratives. They will be able to say, oh, Africa's just this poor place with sick people all over the place, and you don't want to go there, or the only reason you need to go is because you need to go convert them and change them. And it's like, what is that? Instead of going and saying, let me go learn about them. Let me go sit down and spend time with them. Let me go embrace them. Let me go see what it is that I don't know. That's the part. And then the other part that I see a lot of times is it's the Black American victims complex that we have. Where first thing we want to holler, and it's legitimate. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to dismiss what we've been through on any level. We've been through a whole lot. But the problem is that we believe that what we've been through has been more than what anybody else has been through. We went through chattel slavery, and we went through Jim Crow, and we went through the civil rights, and we went through Donald Trump, and we went through all these different people, and we went through. And it's like, what we don't realize is that we've been in a bubble. And at the same time, America was dealing with Donald Trump. Brazil was dealing with the president that had the same type of mentality as Donald Trump. At the same time, and let me say this, I'm not a Democrat nor a Republican, so I'm an equal opportunity offender of the political spectrum. So I'm not, and it doesn't matter who it is, black or white. I will go in on any of them if they're doing something that's not right. So, but the Brazilians, the Afro-Brazilians went through the same things as the African Americans. Chattel slavery, Portuguese got it started. The majority of the enslaved went to Brazil. So we're thinking that we're this special tribe that went through this, and the hurricanes hit the east coast of North America, because the ancestors are mad, and they're churning up the waters and blowing it right into the east coast of America, because that's where slavery happened. For real, hurricanes don't even hit Brazil, and the majority of the enslaved went to Brazil. So please explain that to me. Why can't it just be the Gulf Stream comes up, and that's just a natural occurrence that happens, and that's just that part of the world where things, how about this? They had slavery, chattel slavery going on in the Indian Ocean in Zanzibar. Portuguese were over there, the Arabs were over there. How come the water is calm on that side? You know, those are things that we have to start. But again, if I never visited, then I would be sitting here like repeating that stuff and saying it. Even a lady at the airline, when I was coming here, she's like, "Wow, you're going to Africa? You know that they say that off the coast of Africa, you know that the ancestors are mad because, and that's where the hurricanes." And I'm saying, but I understand, because that's what we were taught, and that's what we were told, and it just, I mean, but to justify the 5 million that went to Brazil, while there are 100 million Afro-Brazilians in the world, 100 million, there are 43 million African Americans. So it's almost 2.5 times the amount of Afro-Brazilians than Afro-Americans, but we don't know that. Now, let me say this about the African Americans, and even I don't like to use the term African Americans, but I'm using it for so everybody knows, can identify. So the African Americans, one thing about us, and I said this the other day, and this might offend some people. It's okay. We'll be all right. I said we are equally brilliant as we are crazy. And I said that, and this is what my aunt even said about my family, because we are very brilliant people. We're smart people. We're resourceful people. We take the best of all of our genetic contributors. But we got this other side, and of course, everybody doesn't have it. All African Americans don't have it, but many of us have this other side that if you come at us the wrong way, there's another part that rises up, that comes out. I don't care if you've been in church your whole life. I don't care if you were the most meek, mild-mannered person. But if you come at us the wrong way, we're very vocal. We're very adamant about what we want. And sometimes that's to our benefit, sometimes to our detriment. But that's so because of that, that's why we have made a lot of noise across the board, because of our positioning in the African diaspora, and because of our economic positioning in the African diaspora. We happen to land in America, who happens to have this, the whole country happens to have an economic advantage, or perceived economic advantage, in the world. And so that doesn't make us superior at all. It just means that we have platforms that many other places might not have. There are other platforms in oh, somebody, you say that's the African side. I heard that too. I heard that too. So in Brazil, the Afro-Brazilians might not have the platforms that the African Americans have, even though these, I'm telling you, them Afro-Brazilians get down. They are, I mean, they are brilliant, but they might not have the economic resources, because Brazil as a country doesn't have the economic resources or the level of influence, say, that America has, from an economic standpoint, from a military standpoint. So by just the simple fact that we're in America is going to give us television, movies. They've extracted and exploited all of our talent. Hollywood sees what we have. So they give us these platforms and this leverage. And so that's what you see. It doesn't make us any better. It just means that our talents have been exposed more, and we've had access to the credit and the money and all these things. And so we can, so say, for example, somebody like me, I make my money in America. So I can come and do certain things because I have those resources, but there'll be somebody right here in Ghana who's more talented, who's more articulate, who's more creative, but they might not have the resources to be able to pull it out to the world, put it out to the world, and to gain an audience and to gain a following. So But then on the flip side, I'm watching this brother, Walter Maya. He came up from nothing pretty much and did his thing, and so he's got almost 1 million followers, and influencing the whole world. And he's from Ghana, so it just goes to show how the creativity and all these different things come together. And when these things begin to come together, you start to see where my hand was falling asleep. You begin to see where people are not able to control those narratives as much. So now you start to see the Afro-Brazilians with more of a platform because the word gets out on the different social media, on the different social media platforms. And now that Africa is getting more exposure as a continent, you begin to see, wow, I didn't know that cocoa, the Ivory Coast and Ghana are the number 1 and number 2 producers of cocoa in the world. And so chances are that Belgian chocolate that I'm eating and loving so much probably came from somewhere on the continent of Africa. And so it goes on and on and on. What I'm saying is, and what my mission is, as I get ready to get out here, we're about to wrap up this tour. We're going to have a good time tonight. The reality is that when you start to see things from this side of the world, it now makes the world larger. And you begin to appreciate the things. Now, when I come back to America, I can see Africa everywhere. There's no way in the world I'm going to hate on my African brothers and sisters. There is no way in the world, because they have done nothing to me. And even if one does something to me, that does not blanket the whole continent with 1 billion people to say everybody's going to do that. At some point, we have to grow up and we have to mature. And the same thing, even on the flip side, when it comes to, because of what they'll say in Africa, those African Americans think that they're better than us. Well, let me say this. I don't think I'm better than anyone on this continent. I appreciate and respect everything that everyone does, and nobody owes me an apology. We're sorry for what our ancestors did. It might have been the same ancestor. It might have been our same great-great-grandmother. Why are you apologizing? What our great-great-grandmother did, it's okay. You don't owe me an apology. You don't have to do anything. None of that is required from me, because you didn't do anything. And so when we start to, really begin to look at it from that perspective, and let's take this stuff, put this stuff down, and leave it alone. And when I say leave it alone, because there's nothing to get over. There's nothing to get over. Somebody please tell whoever's holding the fence against Africa, there's nothing to get over, because they did nothing to us. And when you really look at it, because then it gets real interesting. Again, we're upset because we're feeling as though we got the short end of the stick. I'm telling you what the mentality is out here. We're upset because we feel that we got the short end of the stick. But yet, we were taken to a place where we have access to everything that most people want. So we have access to this pseudo education, and I say pseudo in one sense, but the education that can provide us resources. We have access to the credit. We have access to all this other things that we just take for granted, and things that we just throw out, things that we just but somehow we feel as though we were slighted some kind of way, meaning, and the people here did it. Come on, y'all. We got to do better. We got to do better. And so that's why I love on every country. I love on my brothers and sisters. And I'm like, look, it is what it is. They did what they did, and this is how we break it down. How can we work together? I got a team on East Africa and West Africa. We work together. We don't have any ethnic issues. They teach me about their culture. They teach me about their food. I teach them about the Obroni food that I have grown up with. So we laugh and we joke, and they teach me about all these different things and how to navigate within these cultures, because they tell me about, they call it the greasing of the palms, and how you got to understand how the greasing of the palms work. And so that is what helps to take all of us to another level. That's how we do it. And that's how and I tell them, I said, well, and then I joke. I said, because my ethnic mix is all West Africa, I said, now, see, they're going to make me tap into some of my Nigerian on this one. I got to tap into the way y'all drive. These Ghanaians, driving in Ghana is a skill. So I know it's a skill in Nigeria. I said, I'm coming back to America. Like, see, some of the stuff they do here, man, people have been shot, and not here, but I'm saying in America, like the way they drive, man, people have been getting out the car, cussing at each other and shooting at each other. And here they just I've never seen anything like it. I mean, the way they roll, it's like a skill. And I'm saying I'm looking for the dings in the car and stuff. Nobody's car's all dinged up because somebody hit them. I mean, it's fascinating. It's fascinating. It is fascinating. That's what I'm saying. It's fascinating. And it's something that we're missing out on because we're listening to the peanut gallery in America. We're listening to the stuff that people have told us in America that is backwards or one-sided. And because of that, you're missing out on friendships. You're missing out on experiences. We were out last night. They had salsa night in Africa. You're missing out on all of that. And we were just like, wow. I just can't. All I'm saying is, if that's what's in your mind, you're missing out. It's your loss because it is so liberating. Everywhere I've been, everywhere, places that say it is developed or undeveloped or whatever, I found a joy in what we would consider to be undeveloped. I found a joy in Sierra Leone on the rock bumpy roads and everything. And when I went, we rode like 3 hours to the north of Freetown and went to the Mende community. And there was a group of school children there. And they weren't little children. They were like, I guess, early college age. And they came over and they were just, how you doing? And we were just talking and talking and talking. And I'm like, well, where else would I have this experience? I wouldn't have it cooped up in America, sitting somewhere scared to leave because somebody told me that I shouldn't go. You know, they told me that let me tell you something, and everybody got to take this however you take it. But some of these government websites and stuff, they strategically tell you not to go certain places for their particular reason. So right before I went to South Africa, there was a level 4 alert, don't go to South Africa. So I was like, okay, so what's going on in South Africa? Because they said, don't go to South Africa because they shooting in Joburg. They shooting in Joburg like they're not shooting in random shootings in America. So I said, I said, I'm still going to go. I said, because I need to go see for myself. Now, sometimes it's wise to do that. Sometimes it's not. So I'm not one of those people that just like buck the system just because I want to buck the system. It's not that. I just know how the games are played. I said the mind games are so vicious. And I'm watching how America handled this whole COVID thing. I'm watching all of that. And I'm saying they got some trickery going on. Not that it's a hoax or anything, because it's real. People I know have passed away from it. But I'm saying the way that they handle it and manipulate it and how they force things and twist things, it's some real off the wall stuff. So I said, let me go. So went down to South Africa, no problem. They were taking COVID more seriously. They were, Tanzania, rampant with terrorism, and the terrorism is happening in America. So went to South Africa. They were, everywhere you went, there was sanitizer. People were masked up. It was like, I could eat off of my hand. I felt like I could eat off of my hand in South Africa, like more so than a plate, because everywhere you went, there was some sort of precautions that was taking place. Went, met some of the nicest people in the world, had the greatest time in South Africa. Everywhere I go is a great time. So it's not like, again, I don't have a preferred country. I'm trying to find one, but I don't have one yet. It's because there's something special about each one. And I'm so thankful that I've had the opportunity to do this. And that's one of the reasons why I'm reaching out to senior citizens. And I'm saying, do not leave this earth without experiencing this continent in some capacity. Don't do it. Don't let the colonizer do it. Don't let the ignorant sister and cousins and children and everything. Mama, don't go over there. They're going to get you, mama. Don't go over there. And then the children come in with that foolishness. And the children, and it's understandable. It's understandable. That's how we were raised. I get it. But mama and daddy, I got 4 seniors. No, hold on. 3 seniors on this tour right now. And one is 74 years old. I'll tell you, I cannot wait to share his story. But they're able to see for themselves. And when you see for yourself, nobody can take that from you. And so right now we got seniors hitting us up like, look, I'm not leaving this world. and not having seen Africa, and the majority of my DNA coming from there. They're like, I'm not leaving this world. I mean, that's how deep it is. They're like, look, I got my shot. I'm doing what I got to do. They got the COVID shot. They're like, look, I'm not leaving this world without seeing somewhere in Africa. And they're doing this. I'm like, I'm not telling my children. I'm just doing it. So, and you got some families coming. That's all I can say. That's all I can say. The only people that's losing out is us. If we listen to Massa still tell us what to do. And Massa don't want you to know, because Massa want to keep it in your pocket. Massa wants you still going on slaving every day, and you can't go see, because if you go see for yourself, now you go and you figure out what Massa doing, and you can go do it for yourself. And if you do that, then now Massa can't control you no more. So Massa got to stay in your mind. Massa got to tell you that it's all bad. And so then I believe you, Massa, because you've been so good to me. Massa, you've been good to me. Now I was going to listen to you. I was going to be obedient to you, Massa, because you done told me that that I just need, and the other people, come on, we go, no, because Massa done said, stay right here. And I was going to listen to Massa. It's terrible. I know, Shanae. It's terrible. But that is how we do it. And I said I can't do it. I said I can't do it. It's not. Massa just gonna have to be mad at me, cause but it's the truth. All right, I got to get out of here. We got a nice dinner happening tonight. Like, subscribe, click the share button, and let people know how it's going down here. I'm in Ghana. I'm in Accra, and we are having a great time still. And hopefully you'll be able to join us on one of our African adventures, whether it's in Ghana or Tanzania or Ethiopia. We have more countries getting ready to come online. I'm going to visit Senegal and Cape Verde later in this late summer. We got our inaugural safari coming up in October. You can be a part of. We have more trips. We have another Ghana trip coming in July as well as August. So that is the deal. That is the deal. Hey, what's going on? Follow the light. Absolutely. Both sides have been played. Please comment below. I will respond. But I got to get out of here. And appreciate you watching. Appreciate it, because some people saying my videos were too short. Some people say they're too long. So I'm putting it right here in the middle. And again, thank you. And I will be tuning in again sometime tomorrow. Enjoy your day.